I'm Eric Loy, and welcome to Eric Loy Interviews. On this podcast, we talk with folks from the VTuber community on their channels, their talents, their stories, where they come from, and their plans for the future. We are joined by Aki Orange, or Orange is Borange. Hi.
Hello.
Hey.
How are you?
Doing great. Please introduce yourself to everybody.
Hello, everybody. My name is Aki, also known as Orange, as we just said. I do a lot of Nintendo games. I do speedruns, charity events, and challenges. But tonight, I'm on an interview show with Eric C. Loy.
Hello. Oh, that's me. I already introduced myself. Hi. Hey, thank you so much for coming on. First of all, I want to point folks out to the thumbnail we've got up there and the logo that you've got up there, which I think is absolutely awesome. That Mario type logo, Paper Mario type logo, is really something else. I really enjoy that. I think it's cool.
Yeah. So funny enough, and a lot of my newer highlights, and sometimes depending on what I do, I have a fully animated one. So pops up like the pop-up book, like the new Paper Mario 1,000 Year Door remake does, where it literally has a flat surface and it pops out like a book. And I really like that because it's like, okay, that's very cute. It's a little childish, but I think it's cute. It makes it stand out.
No, it's definitely different. I mean, it absolutely recalls back to the Paper Mario. I think the whole setup is really good. It's not just the name on a background type thing. It has a personality to it. I think it's really good. Mm-hmm. So, how did you get started with the content creation thing?
Oh, geez. Okay, so I was about 11 or 12 years old, and I would sneak on to some of my friends' computers or laptops back in the day, and we would watch these Let's Plays by Chugga Conroy.
Okay.
We would watch these Nintendo Let's Plays of him playing Pokemon games or RPGs, Mario Sunshine, stuff like that back in the day. And I said to myself, whenever I get the chance, if I ever get the opportunity, because at the time I was going through a custody battle with my family, so I would be going back and forth from where I lived to do school to go and visit the other side of the family in the summer. And when I visited the other side of the family in the summer, they let me play video games and check the computer and stuff, because my grandparents were a little anti-technology. So I would use that time to get a microphone, and I would use ZesNest as an emulator to kind of put things together and try to do a little Let's Plays of my own on a old Windows 2000 computer, because we couldn't afford anything higher than that. And I tried doing that. And I always explained to people that the first time I ever played any video games was on a Super Famicom on a black and white TV, because that's all I had. And it had no sound either. So I didn't get to play a lot of really modern games until I was about 19, 18 years old. Mm-hmm. The only things I had were the Famicom, a Game Boy, and I think I had a PlayStation 2, but I didn't really play it that much. I didn't like the PlayStation 2. And the only times I ever got to play those things were over at my other family's house in the summer. And you ask yourself, okay, so why did you only have the black and white TV? Clearly, you had the other side of the family that was not as anti-technology, whatever. That was the only TV that worked with the console. That was the only TV that was available that I had around. So I kind of just, okay, that's it. That's the only thing that I have. I shouldn't complain. Now the Game Boy obviously worked perfectly fine, and I played Pokemon games and all that other stuff.
Yeah. Did you
That was fine.
did you start
Yeah.
with Pokemon One and go from there, or did you jump in?
So so my uncle who gave me the Super Famicom got me a Game Boy with Pokemon Red and Blue.
Mm.
I completed the Pokedex all by myself, and during this time, by the time I completed the Pokedex, Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald was already out. Leaf Green and Fire Red was already out, and Diamond and Pearl was coming soon.
Eh,
So I went to the library, and they still had the Game Boy printer. I printed off the little slip that says, "Hey, you're a Pokemon master. You collected all the Pokemon." And I showed it off to a couple of the kids at school, and they were like, "No, you're not. There's 200 more Pokemon. You're a fraud." And they ripped it in front of me, and
oh,
I never played Pokemon again until 2022.
oh, that's horrible. Oh man,
Yeah. I
that's
never touched Pokemon ever again. So
uh,
like the Game Boy, I just left it in a drawer. I never played any Game Boy games ever.
oh
I just
man.
was like, I don't want to touch it because it just associated with that horrible memory of the kids being rude to me. So I was like, all right, I don't want to do this anymore. But to get back onto the content creation thing, um, I watched Sugar Conroy,
Uh-huh.
um, and then I tried doing my own stuff. I still have. I need to find it because I know it's there. I had a flip camera,
Mm.
and I have an entire recording of me and my friend going through the entirety of Paper Mario, like the first N64 game,
Yeah.
recorded from TV using the flip camera.
Oh my gosh.
And and like what we used to do is we would get a chair, we would stack a bunch of books up to the level of the TV with the flip camera, and then point the flip camera directly at the TV, and then we would sit behind that so that it would pick us up as a microphone, but still be like able to pick up the game sounds, so it wasn't super loud. So we did this amalgamation of a setup that worked. And sometimes we would accidentally kick the chair in front of us, and then the flip camera would fall over, and we had to restart the recording.
Oh
It was
no.
silly.
Oh man.
Um,
But I mean, that's pretty resourceful.
yeah, but other than that, like I pursued content creation ever since I was a kid, and I never really got my footing until I became a VTuber.
Mm.
Every project that I've tried, I would be faced with like some sort of situation, whether I caused it or someone else caused it, and I grew up with I grew up with a family that wasn't really proactive in trying to resolve problems.
Ah.
9 times out of 10, they would just tell you to either just not engage or not try to resolve it, just run away from it.
Yeah.
And I got in such a bad habit of self-destruction where if anything bad happened, I would just tear it all down and restart all over.
Oh my.
um and that self-destruction hurt a lot for a long time. I didn't get out of that self-destructive behavior until I left family.
Mm.
Um, and that was over, oh God, that was like maybe 7 years ago now.
Oh.
Yeah.
So
And I
so
left family when I was 20, 21. Yeah.
and that helped you kind of, well, pretty much, I imagine, threw you in the deep end of the pool. Now it's sink or swim on your
Mhm.
own at that point.
Oh yeah, like I left mostly because I just could not handle the amount of it's a little dark here, but I couldn't handle the abuse that I was dealing with them, and eventually I just was like, this is enough. I need to make my own decisions. I need to live for myself.
Uh,
After multiple times of being told that you can't do extracurricular activities because you can't make a job out of it, which is not wrong. Sorry, which is wrong.
yeah.
Um, you know, you hear your family say you can't get a job with being a musician. You can't get a job with being an artist. Blah blah blah. They just continued and developed into some sort of resentment, not necessarily towards them, but a resentment and just I want to do my own thing
Right.
and just leave me alone.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean
So,
that type of outlook doesn't give you any room to do anything. I mean,
No,
that's is it?
it's very narrow minded,
Yeah.
and I just didn't want to put up with that. I flunked out of college a handful of times, and then after that I was like, okay, well I got to figure out something, and I moved in with my roommate, Otaku Reborn, who I've been staying with for 6 years now,
Uh-huh.
and he has helped a lot with it when it comes to getting out these things set up and trying to push me to do the content creation things.
Yeah.
I've done a couple of other stuff too, like I worked in a lot of website communities like Zelda
Yeah.
or Pokemon or Earthbound.
Yeah.
I've done my own fill of that stuff too.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah. That's another animal unto itself. I mean,
correct.
yeah,
Yeah.
trying to run roughshod over that. It's heard some cats
Hmm.
there, man, sometimes. So when you decided to do the VTuber thing, what drew you to this particular type of broadcasting? I mean, was it the fact that you had an avatar, or that you weren't showing yourself? What was the catch?
I used to be a cam streamer. And like I said, a lot of people judge things based off of what they first hear and what they first see. Um, my voice is always going to be a particular set of contention, which I can get into later. But visually, I do come off as passing. My issue with it is I have to get pretty every time.
Yeah.
I have to go do my hair. I have to look presentable. And I'm just like, sometimes I just want to stream in my underwear,
Oh,
like
yeah,
just
absolutely.
like
Yeah.
I don't want to do this shit. So I saw that, a bunch of people were getting into VTubing, a couple of my friends were, and I thought, okay, if they could do it, sure, let's try it. And it kind of stuck for the longest time. I started with doing Luigi's Mansion speedrunning.
Uh-huh.
uh I love doing speedruns. um and I did that for the first like about 6 months of my streaming career. And people always say like, oh, don't stick to niches, don't do that because you're gonna get stuck and you can't do anything else. I disagree.
Uh,
I strongly disagree with it, actually.
really?
I think you should pick a niche and use it as a practice field,
Okay. Yeah.
because once you are able to communicate with a chat and play a game and learn things about what you want to do, you can build that into, okay, I've been playing this game for this amount of time. I already have a community that I'm slowly building. Let's ask what the community wants from me.
Okay.
And then you could go into other games. You can try to do collabs. You could try to do all these other things. I think self-establishment is so important. If you don't learn how to self-establish yourself, you're never going to get anywhere. You cannot piggyback off of other people. It just doesn't work that way.
Yeah, certainly.
Now
And
there are people that get lucky. Don't get me wrong. There are people that do get lucky and they tack into just chatting or ASMR or a bunch of other stuff, and they fully are driven on personality.
yeah,
That works too.
yeah.
But you still have to put the work and effort into it.
Mhm.
And if you're not going to do that part and you just fully expect that you're just going to get anywhere with just a model, no.
No.
But I started VTubing mostly because I enjoyed Medium. I thought there was a lot there that could be had, and I saw that the Medium was still very niche. It's still in its baby infancy. It
Right.
still is, to my personal opinion.
I think so
It
too.
hasn't been here that long.
Yeah, I think so too. I think that the potential audience is still out there. It's there's millions of people that would enjoy this,
Hmm.
either content creation themselves or watching it that still haven't that don't know what's going on yet. It's there's there is not the ceiling hasn't come close to being reached yet as far as total audience goes.
Hmm.
But I understand what you're saying with the establishment. I kind of compare. I have compared in the past what VTubers do to what the radio DJs used to do in the old days,
Hmm.
where you could go to any station in a market and hear a certain song or a certain format, but people came
Hmm.
back for the personality of the person playing the songs. And
Yes.
you could bring somebody in, say if you're a Minecraft person and you play
Hmm.
Minecraft, they'll come in for the Minecraft, but what they'll come back for is your personality.
Yeah, we need the 1-800-118.36 the duck or something, like some silly little name
Yes,
that goes on the radio, and then he talks for like 5 minutes and he says, like, here's the things that are going on,
yes,
here's what's in the news, here's what's in the and they add their own little spin to it. They
yeah,
have their own little sound effects, they have
right.
their own little personality, and then they get back into the segment of listening to music for about 30 minutes or so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, depending on the station, but I'm old. I remember way back. I was one of those guys way back when. So, as a teenager, but the I think that there's a there the way that works. I see it anyway, is that you still have basically a lot is riding on your voice and your personality and how you do connect
Mhm.
with those people who are listening. And I can see what you're talking about with establishing yourself with one niche before you move out into the other ones. Really get you both your feet on the ground to get started with.
Mhm. No,
That
I agree. It
yeah,
gets your feet wet.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
And the thing is that I also lead this into another thing. Um don't fully buy a model just yet.
Hmm.
Don't fully buy all this expensive equipment, all these other things, because if you're picking out your niche and you're just trying it out for a month, you have no idea if you're going to stick with it.
Right, right.
I when I debuted, sorry, I'm coughing so much.
No worries.
Um when I debuted, I was in a group of 6, and I am the only one that is continuing to stream after after a couple months.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
all 5 of them were either like no ill will to them. They know who they are, but all 5 of them. There's 2 of them that started fighting each other over viewers. One of them was like, "I'm not getting anywhere,"
Uh-huh.
and then the last 2 are, you know just miserable. Just they don't like how they have to set up everything. They
Yeah,
don't like that they have to stream for so long. Like they don't want to put any effort into the social media aspect. Like you content creation gives you no breaks. You are consistently working all the time.
yeah.
All the time.
Yeah, especially if
And
you're going to try to make a
yeah.
living out of it, that type of thing.
Correct.
Yeah, yeah,
Correct.
yeah,
Correct. Yeah. And like, again, no ill to those individuals. They tried doing something new, and I think that's important. I think you should try something new, but don't ever expect it always to be 100% a successful story.
yeah.
You have to fail a couple times in order to succeed.
I mean,
So,
sometimes you have to fail a lot of
um,
times before you succeed.
yes,
Yes,
sometimes you have to fail multiple times to
yes,
get anywhere.
yeah. And but there are some people who get, there is that rare time when somebody wins the lottery and things fall their way and they get out there. But I think a lot of times when that happens, you see the house of cards that they're built on, and
Hmm.
a little bit later on, they didn't really stop and take the time to learn what they were doing. So when it starts not working anymore, it really stops working, and they get burnout quickly. They get maybe they focused too much on one particular thing, and then it got old, and people didn't want to see that
Hmm.
anymore. There's so many different things that can happen to somebody with this, both positively and negatively. Um, but
Hmm.
but the reasons that people get into it are all different, and the talents that they bring are all different. Um, like you said, that the 6 people that came in with you, you're part of that six group of 6. They all had different things to do it. I mean, you said 2 people started fighting immediately, which is kind of silly.
Yep.
I mean,
Yep.
there's too many people out there to fight over. You're not carving out a piece of a pie. You're just
There's plenty of viewers out there. I don't know why they were fighting to begin with. What happened is what sparked it, funny enough, was that um the way that we debuted
uh-huh.
was we were going to have our set times, and we were going to raid into each other,
Ah, okay.
right?
Yeah.
And instead one of the persons who was going to raid into another one, she chose to raid into another one of her channel friends instead. And she didn't catch the memo or
Yes.
something. I don't know.
Oops.
And that pissed her off, and she never forgave her for that,
Oh
like,
man.
ever. She was like, you ruined my debut, you hurt my channel, blah 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 blah. And I'm sitting here, I'm like, if you have so much time to yell at your one of your teammates over a honest mistake, in my opinion,
Uh-huh.
'cause she probably didn't understand what we were doing, then I think you have the time to put that energy towards, like, making content or doing something else.
Yeah. Self-promotion and
Geez.
marketing and
Yeah,
that
it's
sort of
just
thing. And there are a lot of folks that who are trying to, at least get, some pocket change out of it that could use some basic marketing skills.
yeah.
Looking, advertising to your audience. You know,
Mhm.
if you're going for a collaboration, look at their audience too. Are
Mhm.
you going to collaborate with somebody who is, super lewd when the worst thing you play is, uh, something about Hello Kitty or something like that? It's not going to work. You've got to look for synergy. You got to cast your line in the lake that has your fish in it. Otherwise, you're not going to catch what you want. I think that's something that folks. That's old radio stuff. There, I'm bringing over after all those years. So you're mostly doing the Nintendo stuff now, right?
I do Nintendo, but I also dabble in a bunch of other things too from time to time.
Yeah.
It really depends on what it is.
Do you do you like to stick with the Mario games at the moment? Are those your comfort games? You'd say?
Mostly Zelda.
Mm. Yeah, I played the original, the OG Zelda, which was so wonderful on the NES because you could save it and you didn't have to start over again like with the Super Mario Brothers. when you when you were getting to a certain point, and your thumbs were tired, you could actually save the game and come back to it later.
Mhm.
Instead of keep playing until 3 o'clock in the morning, which we had to do. When I did finally beat it, the Super Mario one, and I beat Zelda finally. Took a long time to do that. But how do you think that franchise has kept itself going? Do you think it's been pretty consistent?
Uh, Zelda or Mario? Like
Zelda.
which one? Zelda. Okay, Zelda. Zelda has always been innovative.
Uh-huh.
Zelda's always trying to change things. Although they stuck to a formula that, I am, in my opinion, I think worked for a long period of time. But after Skyward Sword, they had to change things up. Obviously, open world is becoming a lot more popular. Having free will to access and do whatever you want instead of a linear
Yeah.
built story. I think around that time, you had games like Skyrim that was out. You had upcoming games like Detroit Become Human and, you
Right.
know, Heavy Rain, which gave you choices and actions that you can do. Interactivity with that sort of thing is very important to some players,
Yeah.
and I think that Zelda has grown to evolve in that direction where we still have both formulas. We have the new formula, which is Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, where you have that open world feel. You have these tools where you can do whatever you want. And then we still have remakes of the original games. We have the Link's Awakening remake, and then we have Echoes of Wisdom, which still have that formula of the original Zelda games. Um, do I think that Zelda has been consistent? No.
Mm.
There's been plenty of games that deviate very heavily. On the sixth game that they ever made, which is like Majora's Mask,
Yeah.
they deviated it super far away from the original formula, and
Yes, they
that game
did.
was made in less than a year.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. They
um,
that was quite a sideways and weird jump from
Mhm.
one form.
Oh yeah,
And the ones on the, I'm not even counting the ones that were on the CD ones.
the CDI.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that doesn't really count.
Well, that one still followed a formula to some degree. It was based off of Zelda 2.
Yeah,
Which Zelda 2 is also very different and in its own way.
yeah,
But I like to think about Majora's Mask a lot because without Majora's Mask, we wouldn't have games like Animal Crossing,
right.
for example.
Yeah, yeah.
Majora's Mask heavily influenced Animal Crossing's development. It also heavily influenced Mother 3's development.
Hmm.
So that game is very, very important, even if IG Aonuma doesn't see it that way. Um,
Yeah, you can't please everyone that way. I guess it's everybody's got their own
yeah.
take on it. But when you look at, and then of course I go from the original to what they've been able to do with it and still keep it relevant, I think is pretty
Mhm.
amazing. Um, to have
Yeah,
people,
keeping a franchise relevant is very difficult.
yeah, because you can get really lost in the bells and whistles and lose the soul of what you're trying to do. Um,
I agree.
and that could be really just devastating for a any type of franchise of games. But
Any type of developer would feel devastated about that. They make a franchise that they feel proud and that they love, and then come the third, fourth game, everyone's bored of it.
oh yeah, yeah,
Everyone doesn't want to play it anymore. That's heartbreaking to some
yeah,
people.
and
And
then
like you're gonna have those failures. It comes into life. Like
yeah,
you're gonna make your third or fourth game, and people are gonna be like, hey, I still like the first game. I
yeah,
still like the second game. And then you have to study those people and go, well, why do they like the first or second game? What makes those two games so special than these other games? Like it's why there's like a huge study about like why people still go back to Ocarina of Time.
yeah,
Ocarina of Time has so many flaws,
yeah,
so many things that people don't like about it, and it's still the number one game for several people. It's still the number one game on Metacritic. It's still the number one game in a lot of people's hearts.
yeah, yeah. It's
Um,
sometimes um uh, the looking back on the game, you get a reverse type of 2020 vision. It looks better than it actually was sometimes,
yeah,
but you have that rose-colored glasses look at it sometimes, and you say, "Well,
yeah.
I enjoyed this game, and I'm going to overlook the flaws, and I'm going to keep playing it." Um, that's one thing, but when what's really sad to me is I've seen some games in the PC over the years where
Mhm.
they have tried to change the basics of what made the game and really screwed it up and just lost the bit completely.
Mm.
I was a big fan of the Might and Magic series um,
Mhm.
way back when, and they got up to number 8. It was perfectly fine. Number 9 was garbage, and
Mm.
they changed everything around, and I could not get through 10 minutes of it. And I would play the other games back and forth and do the cheats and everything to, to try
Mhm.
to get the max of it. But when you see somebody take a gamble and lose like that, that's really tough. I think that's why you're seeing a lot of games now sticking around and just adding little bits and pieces to the game rather than coming up with something new.
Makes sense.
Yeah, it's why you got to like you know guy Star Rail and that stuff. They just
Oh yeah.
add another piece to it and keep going. And people continue to go for it. But the the Zelda games to me somehow, even though it's different from place to place, they still keep the basic to it. It's still Link. It's still Zelda. It's still this. They've been pretty adept in keeping you within the you don't feel like you strayed too far from the main story.
Mm-mm.
Yeah,
No.
yeah, and it hopefully they'll be able to keep that up in a an extremely tough corporate world. Do you play any indie games at all?
I do.
Yeah.
In my repertoire of streaming, in May I host a week where We call it Indie World Showcase.
Mm.
I have my community or myself look for about 30 or 40 indie games, and we use that entire week to play them.
Ah,
Uh,
cool.
we use we give 1 hour. We dedicate 1 hour to each game.
Yeah,
We boot it up, try it out, see how it goes.
yeah,
And if it's a game that's worth playing, then I usually recommend it. If it's a game that I don't really see eye to eye with it, I kind of just go, okay, let's go to the next one.
yeah.
Um, there's always going to be like differences. Like it takes me a lot hard time to play indie games because the unfortunate thing about indie games is that everybody compares it to something else.
Right.
And I think that the best way to advertise a game is not to tell me that it plays like something else.
Yeah,
Um, the longest time I didn't play Hat in Time because everyone said, "Oh, it plays like Mario Sunshine with a Wind Waker art style." And I'm like, "Okay, then I'll just go play those two games you just told me." Like, like I already own them. Why would I want to go buy another game? Like,
yeah,
I hate that. I
yeah,
hate that comparison. Like, I get it, it's similarity,
yeah,
and I get why people do it, but it doesn't sell me a game. You
yeah,
didn't tell me anything that's unique about it.
yeah. It's if people instead of actually describing you the game, they compare it, and that's like, well, I'm not going to buy another one of these. I've already got this. I'm just go back and play that game again. And but they can also do a real disservice to you because by making the description that simple, then you're overlooking the minor things that really make it a good indie game.
Correct. I
Yeah,
agree.
yeah,
I fully agree on that one.
yeah. It's for me the indie games or the ones that were done by smaller groups anyway, seem to
Hmm.
have a little more heart than a lot of the corpo games out there.
Hmm.
Although, I just talked about how Zelda's managed to not do that, and I guess you can't get any more corporation than Nintendo
Yeah.
for these things. But when you don't have to run things by a bunch of shareholders, you can keep your original ideas in there, and that's what I think. You get a game like an Undertale or something that breaks through.
Hmm.
And suddenly, so many people want to try that game, or a Cult of the Lamb or something like that. Something that's not from a huge retail outlet. What would you
Hmm.
say would be your favorite game that would be classified as an indie?
Oh, my favorite game that's classified as an indie. Momodora Reverie of the Moonlight.
Ooh, so tell me about that
Absolutely.
one. Tell me about that one.
So Momodora 4 Reverie of the Moonlight is a side-scrolling action platformer kind of game.
Mhm.
It's more in tune with like Metroidvania and like Dark Souls.
Mm.
But it's basically you play as this priestess who can attack and destroy demons with the power of a maple leaf.
Oh,
And I think it's really, really interesting and cool. The reason why I like that game so much is actually because of speedrunning.
oh,
I watched a speedrunner who goes by the name of Half Coordinated. He has a disease that prevents him from using the right side of his body.
oh,
He
okay,
can't. He doesn't have any movement or motor skills on the other side of his body,
okay.
and he speedruns that game
Oh,
with his left hand with an Xbox controller.
wow.
And he did that game on the hardest difficulty at GDQ, and there's a speech at the end that he gives, and it's very, very thought provoking about telling. It's the moral of the story for him is that he is proving to everybody that when someone says you can't do anything, no, you can.
Yeah,
You absolutely can,
yeah.
and no matter what. And I picked up that game that same night, played it all the way through, cried, and I'm like, this game's great. So I will always 100% recommend it. There's sequels to it, and there's prequels to it. So the whole series Momodora is very, very interesting, and I treasure that indie series to hell and back. It's great.
Oh.
It's perfect. Yeah.
Do you like uh the playing it to try to get the best time? Are you one of those type of players?
Um, I mean, I used to do speedruns where like I'm trying to get like world record. Yeah,
Yeah,
I've attempted at some point to
yeah.
get world records for um some of the games that I play, but usually I just kind of go for a time that I think is acceptable for me
Oh,
and then just try to beat that.
yeah,
And then I go to the next game.
yeah.
Yeah.
I never did have the coordination to do that sort of thing. I was kind of cross-handed. I still am cross-handed. Some things I do left-handed, some things I do right-handed, some things I drop with both hands. Uh, I'm
Mhm.
not exactly the most coordinated person in the world, and going too fast like that and going for just time, I would just constantly shoot myself in the foot doing it. I would make mistakes all the time. It would be too frustrating for me.
Mhm.
Did you get close to any records while you were doing it?
Once I
Mm.
did, yes.
Ooh, when you hit that end and saw the time, were you
Mhm.
frustrated, pleased, proud?
Uh, Proud, but like I wish I could do more. But like I got to move on to other things. I
Yeah,
can't always just stick to just doing the same thing over and over and over and over and over again.
yeah.
So,
Yeah, that would be another thing that drive me crazy is like I would get like three-quarters of the way through something and then make a mistake that makes it impossible to recover from. So I'm like,
right.
now I've got to start all over again. Otherwise, I'm not going to enjoy playing this game the rest of the way.
Right.
That would be pretty tough. Is there any type of streaming that you'd like to do that you haven't been able to do yet?
Uh VR.
Hmm.
VR, I think I wanna have a full tracking suit and just be able to like roam around in my office and like share things. And I was thinking of if my next subathon goes really, really well, I was thinking about opening up a VR chat world that
Hmm.
is just stylized based off of the things that I like and the lore that I have been building for a while,
Yeah.
and kind of try to make a interactive world for people to engage with.
Yeah. That was.
Um,
I'm not sure I could deal with VR.
hmm.
I, it would the whole turning around and having it go with me thing is
Yeah,
a
no, I feel that.
yeah. I mean, there are some people who can't do first person shooters because of the how it makes them feel. They get dizzy from that. I can't imagine what they'll end up with in VR. But I also have a
Right,
grandson who loves it. He got one for Christmas, and he's into it every day if he could. If he can get it from his father, he can get into it and enjoy it. Um, so you do you not have a VR setup yet?
um, I do not. Well, I have the VR setup, but it only currently like has my hands and
Mm.
my face.
Ah, okay.
It does not do like full body tracking.
Ah,
So
okay.
like I still have to teleport around to get anywhere versus like I can physically walk over to the thing,
Mm,
right?
yeah,
So I'm thinking about trying to get a system where I can walk around in a 3D space. There is like these panel things that you can like attach yourself to, and then you walk around in them, and it's like you wear these specific shoes,
yeah,
and like it's a neat little concept. And I want to do it really badly, but like also at the same time, it requires like a lot of other things that I got to do, and just it's
yeah.
just too much.
You have to basically build a set in order to do it correctly. And I see the folks in the arcades. They have like little like walk pads that they stand on,
Mhm.
and it's almost like um, like those exercise machines where you can keep walking on it and it'll go with you. But they end
Mhm.
up walking against the wall. It just
Right.
looks funny. I'm sure I'd figure out some way to break it one way or another between all that going on. Is there what games are you streaming right now?
Right now I'm streaming Donkey Kong 64, Skyrim, Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga,
Uh-huh.
and soon I will be streaming Yakuza 0 and some more Donkey Kong games. Because I promised I would do Donkey Konga, which is I'm gonna use the actual barrels and play music with it, and I'm just like, oh god, that's gonna be painful, but gotta do it. I gotta do it. I
Yeah,
promised.
you promised the chat. You gotta follow up on it now. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So you got to get the congas to play.
Yes.
Oh boy. Yeah, I would be totally. I wouldn't even. I would probably start playing, and the cassette would shoot out of the machine. At this point, I wouldn't be able to do it. I just reject it completely. My my musical ability is zero, or maybe negative, at this age. But I guess it's a rhythm game, isn't it?
Yes, it
Yeah,
is a rhythm game.
yeah, yeah. I maybe my wife could do that because she's a musician. She does that type of
Mhm.
stuff, but she's got all the music and art capabilities. I have negatives in both, so we can average out to zero
Yeah.
when it comes down to it. Uh, so now that you've gotten started and you're a ways in to your VTubing career, are you further along than you thought you'd be, or are you where you thought you'd be, or are are you a little disappointed for how long have you gone?
Um, I'm indifferent
Mm,
because I think there's more that I can still do,
yeah,
but I am already at the point where I feel I've accomplished everything I set out to do. It's just a matter of just keep going and just making more adventures for myself.
yeah.
I mean, there's still more games I've yet to experience. There's still more projects that I can always do. There's still more stories I can share. Um, I don't know if I'll still be doing this like, 5, 10 years from now. But if I am, then awesome.
Yeah,
I did something.
yeah. Well,
But
the biggest thing
yeah.
is continuing to enjoy it.
Oh
And
yeah, I'm enjoying I enjoy everything that I make. Even if it's something that looks like trash, I'm like, okay, well I made that, so you got to be proud of it to some degree. Um,
I like that.
obviously there obviously there's the times where you're like, okay, well I could have put a little bit more effort. I'm like, well yeah, there's always room for improvement,
Yeah,
but you gotta accept your shortcomings sometimes.
yeah, yeah.
There's always gonna be like you're gonna make something a year later from now. You're gonna be like, oh, I could have done this, and this would be like 10 times better. I'm like, yeah, but that's like also in the past. Like if you're gonna focus in on that all the time, you're gonna drive yourself nuts.
Oh well,
You gotta
in interviewing these artists online, I always get on them because they're never finished. They'll have a complete painting or some sort of work online, but they'll always want to come back and keep working just that little bit that they see is wrong with it. Says, no, you're done. Get away.
you gotta move on. Life, the world doesn't stop because you decide to.
Yes.
You have to focus on what you can do now and what you could probably do maybe tomorrow.
Yes.
I don't think of, oh God, what am I gonna do 3 weeks from now? I don't think of that.
Yeah.
I never think of that because it's just not worth worrying about. I also don't worry about what I did yesterday unless I did something bad. In which case, okay, maybe I should worry about that a little bit. But otherwise, no. I focus on what I can do this very moment.
Yeah.
My actions are defined right now. They're not defined from who I am 3 months ago.
It's. I mean, it's a good. I like the concept. I like how you've basically got a great mindset for what you want to do. You've got what you want to do in your sights, and you aim right at it, and you work towards it, and you don't let things distract you. That's a great way to
No.
do things.
And if something distracts me, I pause and take a deep breath, think about what I want to say and think about what I want to do, and then I go back to it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes taking a break from things is okay, but don't ever give up on things.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think giving up is the worst kind of failure because when you give up, you don't learn anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
You didn't you it, all you taught yourself is that I couldn't do it.
Mm,
And that's not an answer for me.
yeah.
That's a wall.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. And you're all about running through them walls.
correct.
That's a great way to do it. I'm glad you're with us. I'm glad you're enjoying yourself. And folks, we're going to have all the links that you can find out what what they're up to here in just a bit. We're going to have it in the links in the description for this interview. Thank you so much for coming on. I do appreciate it. And
Of course.
again, maybe we'll get you on again sometime and get some updates on how you're
Oh,
doing.
sure.
And,
Absolutely. Hit
and
me up whenever you like.
thank you again so much for being on.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for listening to Eric Loy Interviews. Join us again next time when we talk to another member of the always interesting VTuber community.